was my 30th year, and I stood among the exiles of God's people. The waters rushed beside me. The sun beat down mercilessly, and dust swirled about us, stinging like ashes in the wind. Then, without warning, the heavens split open above me, tearing apart the sky with blinding brilliance. I staggered back, shielding my eyes as the vision descended, terrible and glorious. Out of the north came a tempest, cloaked in smoke and flame. Clouds black as iron with fire, flashing ceaselessly from their heart. From within the storm emerged 4 living creatures, strange and fearsome, yet wondrous beyond reckoning. They gleamed like polished bronze, each bearing 4 faces and 4 mighty wings. I looked again, awestruck. Beside each living creature stood an immense wheel, shimmering like polished beryl. A second wheel spun within each, crossing through it, encircled with countless eyes. When the creatures advanced, the wheels turned beside them, rising from the earth, guided by a single spirit. Where one moved, so moved all, bound together by a power beyond understanding. Above their heads stretched a vast expanse, dazzling as crystal. Beneath this expanse, their wings stretched out, beating with the sound of roaring waters and the voice of the Almighty Himself. As they halted, silence fell abruptly, and their wings lowered. Sudden stillness, a voice echoed from above the crystal expanse. Son of man. My knees gave way, and I fell prostrate, humbled and fearful before that power. High upon a sapphire throne, surrounded by fire, sat one whose likeness was that of a man. His form shimmered like heated metal, wreathed in flame from his waist upward, and ablaze from the waist downward, radiant as a rainbow following the storm. When I saw him, terror and awe filled me, and I fell upon my face in the dust. Yet even as I trembled, his voice spoke clear and firm. Son of man. Stand up on your feet. Hear my words. Strength surged through me as the Spirit lifted me upright, and I listened, breathless and afraid. Son of man, I send you to the Israelites. rebellious and stubborn people. They have turned against me. I hesitated, fear gripping my heart, but the voice spoke again, sharper now, like iron. Do not fear them, Ezekiel. Though briars surround you, and scorpions crawl at your feet, stand firm and speak my words to them, whether they listen or not. They are rebellious, but you, son of man, do not rebel like them. Then, before my eyes, a hand emerged from the radiance above, holding forth a scroll. As I watched, the scroll unfurled, and on both sides were inscribed words of lamentation, mourning, and woe. My heart sank within me, for I understood then the burden I must bear, the heavy message that now lay burning upon my tongue. Son of man, eat what is before you, eat this scroll, and go and speak to the people of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he gave me the scroll to eat. It tasted sweet like honey. The word was satisfying, nourishing, life-giving. Then the Spirit lifted me up, and I heard behind me a loud rumbling sound. The glory of the Lord was before me. Everything around me stirred as the wings of the four living creatures took flight. Behind them, the mysterious wheels turned with melodic grace. If gold made music, that's what I was hearing. The Spirit then lifted me up and took me away, casting me back into reality with the people of Israel. Bitterness and anger simmered in my spirit, but the strong hand of the Lord on me. I was among the exiles, a prophet with a message burning in my belly.
As night fell, the air grew cold and the sky darkened, a velvet blanket strewn with stars. Jacob's weary eyes scanned the horizon, seeking a place of rest. His journey had been long, and his body ached with exhaustion. There wasn't a torchlight for miles, no town or city set upon a hill to seek refuge. He was alone, wholly and utterly alone. Wolves howled in the distance, causing Jacob's legs to tingle with unrest. He shook his head and gripped his auburn curls tightly.
What am I doing here? Is this even the right thing to do? Have I messed all this up before it even had a chance to begin?
There was no response from the skies or whispers of comfort in the wind. Jacob shook his head in resignation. He was weary from the journey, eyes heavy with melancholy and physical exhaustion. The sky overhead was a vast, unending expanse of deep indigo, flecked with countless stars that glittered like shards of ice. A crescent moon hung low in the sky, its pale light casting eerie shadows upon the ground, illuminating the jagged silhouettes of the distant mountains that framed the horizon. Jacob looked out from the dimly lit hill on which he stood. His grandfather called this place Luz. It was a site that bore the scars of time and conflict, its stones weathered and worn by centuries of wind and rain. The history of Luz was etched into the very landscape, a silent record of the peoples who had passed through, each leaving their mark in the form of scattered cairns and ancient weather-beaten carvings. In the days of Jacob's ancestors, this land had been a crossroads for traders and nomads alike. The ancient paths that wound through the hills were once traveled by caravans laden with goods from far-off lands, spices from the east, precious metals from the south, and grains from the north. The trade routes brought commerce, stories, and traditions, weaving a rich tapestry of cultural heritage that lingered in the air like an unseen mist. But despite its storied past, Luz had fallen into relative obscurity by Jacob's time, overshadowed and forgotten. Jacob wondered if Abraham's promise had fallen to the same fate. Would the greatness of Abraham's lineage end with him? Finding a smooth, flat stone, he placed it beneath his head and lay down to rest. As he lay upon the hard, unforgiving ground, Jacob's mind was a tumult of thoughts and fears. The stone beneath his head was cold and unyielding, but it was also strangely comforting, grounding him in the reality of his journey and the trials yet to come. He was caught between past and future, between the weight of his sins and the promise of redemption. In this liminal space, he drifted into a deep, dream-laden sleep, the world around him fading into the background as the vision unfolded. The night around Jacob seemed to thicken, the shadows deepening until they were almost tangible. The air grew still, an expectant hush falling over the landscape, broken only by the soft, rhythmic susurration of the wind through the rocky crags and the distant hoot of an owl. Jacob opened his eyes to a vision. He found himself standing at the base of a monumental staircase that stretched upwards into the infinite expanse of the heavens. The staircase was constructed of a stone so smooth and luminous that it seemed to glow from within, each step bathed in a soft golden light that shimmered like the surface of a tranquil sea under the moonlight. The steps, though solid, appeared almost ethereal, as if they were fashioned from pure light and divine essence.
What is this?
Jacob stepped forward, drawn to the light of the staircase and the holy glow that emanated from the top. Jacob knew very little about what he was seeing, but he knew he wanted to be at the top of that staircase. He inched forward, only to be drawn back by a holy procession of angels. A faint celestial music, like the sound of distant bells or the harmonious chords of a lyre, filled the air, mingling with the faint whisper of angelic voices that spoke in a language beyond human understanding. The air itself seemed to hum with a sacred energy, vibrating with the resonance of countless prayers and ancient hymns. Angels moved gracefully along the staircase, ascending and descending with a serene purpose. Their forms were radiant, clothed in robes of light that flowed like liquid silver. Each angel bore bore a unique visage, their expressions a blend of serenity and wisdom, their eyes aglow with an inner fire that bespoke their celestial origin. They moved with an effortless grace, their wings barely stirring the air, leaving trails of luminescent sparks in their wake. The light pulsed, and wisps of living color descended down with the angels. Its brilliance nearly blinded Jacob. As he beheld this wondrous sight, a profound awe and humility swept over him. His heart pounded in his chest, not from fear, but from the overwhelming sense of being in the presence of God Most High. His legs trembled, and he felt the urge to fall to his knees. Fear, awe, and anticipation welled within him. He turned to the ground, hiding his face from the light and wonder.
Am I going to die or turn to gold? It seems like each is possible at this point.
Then a warmth spread through him, starting from his core and radiating outward, filling him with a sense of peace and an unshakable certainty that he was not alone. Jacob peered up. There, standing right beside him, stood a vision of God Most High. He spoke to Jacob. His voice was unlike any Jacob had ever heard. It was a voice encompassing the roar of the ocean and the whisper of the wind, the crackle of a mighty fire, and the gentle rustling of leaves. It resonated through the very marrow of Jacob's bones, a sound that was once thunderous and soothing, now commanding and comforting.
I am the existing one, the God of Abraham, your father, and the God of Isaac.
You're here. You're really here.
Look around you, son of Isaac. Behold the splendor of this land.
Jacob surveyed the starlit landscape. The radiance of the staircase illuminated its rich and vibrant valleys cut with rushing rivers and lush forests.
The land on which you lie, I will give to you and your descendants. Your offspring shall be like the dust of the earth, and you shall spread abroad to the west, and to the east, and to the north, and to the south. Through you and your descendants, all families of the earth will be blessed.
So you have blessed me. I didn't know if... I wasn't sure if you...
Jacob's words were caught in his throat. He wrestled with feelings of assurance in God and doubt in himself. Deep down, he knew he was a deceiver, a trickster who stole his blessing. In some ways, it surprised Jacob to receive such a blessing from God himself.
Behold, I am with you, and I will keep you wherever you go. Though you leave, I will bring you back to this land, for I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised.
Just then, Jacob awoke with a start, his breath coming in short, sharp gasps. The memory of the vision lingered in his mind. He looked around him, surveying the land God promised him, not just his father and grandfather, not his brother Esau or his sons, him, Jacob.
In the shadowed stillness of night, I stood upon the precipice of dread. Before me stretched an endless sea of bones, brittle whispers of lives forgotten, hollow relics of dreams decayed. The bones lay scattered, heaped high and sprawling wide. It was an empire reduced to dust. Death had danced here, wild and unbridled, leaving only echoes of past life and ruin. There was a tragedy to it all, a sadness. I could feel it. These people, whoever they were once alive with purpose. But what's dead is dead.
The ground is cracked, the bones lay bare. A valley stretched with lifeless air. The echoes whisper through the dust, a silent grave of broken trust.
The Lord spoke to me. He told me to prophesy to the bones. But could these dry bones live? Could the dead be raised again? I prophesied to the bones. I spoke life over them. And then a rattling. From the grip of oblivion, something stirred. Marrow and sinew wove together, knitting past and future, life and death. These bones were upright, but not yet alive. No spirit, no presence. Then the Lord spoke again. He told me to prophesy to the breath. He told me to call forth the wind, so these bones may be filled with the spirit of life. So stood before me, a legion born anew, their eyes blazing with the fire of revival. From ruin, hope arose, fierce and defiant. In the depths of desolation, life had found its voice, and the dead whispered defiance into eternity. I saw lands reborn, fields rich with harvest, walls once crumbled, now rising tall. Despair gave way to boundless hope, a promise etched in eternity's heart.
Bones are joining, sinews tight. Flesh returns beneath the night. A mighty army standing tall. Breath of life revives us all.
Are the whole house of Israel, dead, hopeless. But thus says the Lord God,
Behold, I will open your graves and raise you from the dead. You shall know that I am the Lord when I open the tomb and raise you from despair. I will put my spirit within you, and you shall live. I will place you in your own land. Then you shall know that I am the Lord. I have spoken, and I will never break my promises.
Even in darkest desolation, dawn breaks eternal. Hope lives, invincible and unyielding, whispering promises of restoration, the same spirit that hovered over the face of the deep, the same wind that howled over the chaotic waters, the same breath that filled the first man, lives in us. The tempest of heaven is raging, ready to bring us back to life. You dry bones, live. You who sleep, awake, arise.
Bound by Rome, but free in spirit. On the Lord's day, I heard a voice behind me, clear as a trumpet's cry, sharp as the edge of dawn.
Come up here, John. Come to the throne room. I shall show you what must take place.
And behold, a door stood open in heaven. I was in the Spirit, and what I saw was the throne, high and lifted up, beautiful, yet terrifying at the same time. It stood beyond the veil of time, wrapped in light like precious stone, jasper and carnelian, blazing at the heart of an emerald rainbow. Thunder cracked, lightning danced like living spears. 7 torches blazed before the throne, 7 spirits of God, burning but never consumed. And before it all, a sea of glass, clear as crystal, stretched like eternity's mirror beneath my feet. He who sat there, I could not look long. His presence was power beyond stars, majesty that bent time around it. Surrounding him were 24 thrones. Upon them sat elders, robed in white, crowned with gold. Their faces were the faces of kings and saints. Then I saw them, the 4 living creatures. One was like a lion, another was like an ox, the third with the face of a man. The 4th and the last was like a soaring eagle. Their bodies were full of eyes, seeing past, present, and future all at once. Their wings beat not air, but spirit.
Holy, 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 holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. Worthy are you, our root and God, to receive glory, honor, power, for you created all things. By your will they were, they are, and are to come.
They never ceased, not day nor night. Their worship was breath, unending and unwearying. Whenever they gave glory, the elders fell down. They cast their crowns before the throne, like children laying treasures before their father. Then I saw it in the right hand of him who sat on the throne, a scroll. It was sealed with 7 seals, closed like judgment, waiting to break. A mighty angel called out,
Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seal?
I wept. Tears streamed down my face. Sorrow welled up within me. None in heaven, none on earth. No one was found worthy. I wept and wept, for the world was closed upon itself. But then an elder touched my shoulder. He gestured upward, drawing my attention to another.
Do not weep. Behold the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David. He has triumphed.
I turned, expecting to see a lion. But what I saw was a lamb. The lamb was standing as though slain. His wounds were still fresh, yet his eyes were full of fire. The lamb came forward, unafraid, unshaken, and took the scroll from the hand of the one on the throne. Then the heavens could no longer contain their silence. four living creatures and the elders all fell before the Lamb. Each held a harp and golden bowls full of incense. What were in those bowls? Incense? No. More than that. The prayers of saints. Every prayer whispered in desperation. Every plea for grace. Every request for the power of God to move. Every prayer ever prayed was in those bowls. The angels sang a new song, bright and sharp as the edge of dawn.
Worthy are you to take the scroll, to break the seals, unlock its mystery. For you are slain, your blood has ransomed every tribe and tongue, every people, nation. You have made them a kingdom, priest for our God. They shall reign upon the earth. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, power and wealth, wisdom and might, honor and glory, blessings unfold. To him who sits upon the throne, and to the Lamb alone, be blessing, honor, glory, power, forevermore, forevermore, forever and evermore.
I saw these things, and though I am but dust and breath, I write them to you, so that you may see and not be afraid, but filled with hope.
First, John saw a magnificent vision. A woman bathed in sunlight, radiant with celestial splendor, crowned with 12 stars. Her beauty was breathtaking, yet her agony shook the earth as she prepared to birth a child destined to rule all nations. Suddenly, an immense dragon arose from the shadows, its 7 monstrous heads crowned with 10 dreadful horns. Its wings stretched across the heavens, blotting out the stars, casting them violently to the earth. The beast hovered ominously, waiting ravenously to devour the newborn child, aware that this child carried the destiny of the world. Yet, in a flash of divine rescue, the child was snatched to heaven's throne, beyond the dragon's reach. In fury, the dragon roared, shaking the foundations of creation itself as the woman fled to safety. Out of the engulfing darkness came Michael, the archangel, clothed in dazzling glory. With sword ablaze, he led the mighty armies of heaven into battle against the dragon. An epic war erupted across the celestial realm, shaking the very heavens. Michael and his angelic forces conquered the dragon, casting him down to the earth, humiliated and stripped of his might. From heaven came a triumphant voice declaring,
"The salvation and power of Christ have conquered the enemy. The darkness is vanquished by the blood of the Lamb and the testimony of the saints. Rejoice."
Still seething, the defeated dragon pursued the woman, unleashing a torrential flood to destroy her. But creation itself rose in defense, swallowing the waters whole. Defeated again, the dragon stood enraged on the shore, plotting vengeance. Then the earth trembled violently, as from the depths of the sea emerged a monstrous beast, bearing the likeness of a leopard with paws like a bear and 10 crowned horns. Empowered by the dragon, this beast poured forth deception and darkness for 42 months, demanding worship and subjugating humanity under its cruel dominion. As John watched, the earth quaked again, And another fearsome beast ascended, deceptively gentle like a lamb, yet speaking venomous lies like the dragon. It commanded worship of the first beast, marking humanity with its cursed number, 666. A terrible wrath and judgment enveloped the earth, devastating all beneath its oppressive rule. The beasts reveled in destruction, humanity languished in despair, and hope seemed lost. Yet, from above, a chorus of victorious voices sang,
Hallelujah! Salvation and glory belong to our God. His judgment is righteous. The wedding feast of the Lamb is near. Behold the redemption of his bride.
Suddenly, heaven itself split wide open. Riding forth was the hero, astride a magnificent white steed named Faithful and True, the warrior of justice, the finisher of destiny. His eyes burned with righteous fire, his robe crimson with sacrifice, his name declared as the word of God. From his mouth flashed a mighty sword, ready to strike down evil, his presence radiating unstoppable power. Inscribed upon his thigh were the words, King of Kings and Lord of Lords. With unmatched valor, the hero charged into the beast's vast armies, shattering darkness with a single swing of his sword. The beast roared, rallying its evil hosts in desperate defiance, but it stood powerless against the Almighty. Horns shattered, limbs torn, the beast collapsed under divine wrath. In a final act of justice, the champion of heaven cast the beast into eternal flames. Thus, Christ, the Messiah, the hero, defeated evil once and forever, securing victory, redemption, and eternal hope for all mankind. Now, the heavens opened wide, revealing a breathtaking vision, a world reborn. Before John's eyes, the old earth melted away, its grand cities, mighty kingdoms, and fierce armies dissolving like snow under the brilliance of God's glory. Humanity's wars and wickedness became mere ashes carried away by celestial winds. The roaring oceans vanished, replaced by an awe-inspiring sight. A resplendent holy city, descending majestically, radiant with divine splendor. It was as if heaven itself danced upon the earth, God's perfect will harmonizing flawlessly with the yearning hearts of mankind. From the ashes rose the New Jerusalem, beautiful beyond imagination, adorned like a bride awaiting her groom. A voice echoed throughout eternity, powerful yet gentle, declaring,
Behold, the dwelling place of God is now among mankind. They will dwell in perfect unity. He shall be their God, and they shall forever be his beloved people. He will wipe away every tear, extinguish death's bitter sting, and erase sorrow and pain forever. The darkness has vanished. Only the everlasting light of Christ remains.
Then appeared the King, the creator of galaxies, the giver of life, the shepherd of souls, the Son of Man. Enthroned in majesty, his eyes radiant with compassion, his voice resonating with authority, he proclaimed,
Behold, I am making all things new.
In awe and reverence, John fell to his knees, joining countless others as they bowed before their Savior.
I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end,
Jesus declared.
Come, all who thirst, to the fountain of living water.
An angel appeared beside John, gently guiding him upwards.
Come,
the angel spoke softly.
I will show you the bride, the redeemed of the Lamb.
John was lifted high, gazing once again upon the magnificent city, gleaming with brilliance, crafted from precious gems, walls mighty and steadfast, 12 gates bearing the honored names of Israel's tribes, foundations inscribed with the names of Christ's apostles, streets paved with pure gold, gates shimmering like pearls. Yet John saw no temple, for God's glory itself filled every corner of the city. There was no need for sun or moon. the brilliance of God's presence illuminated all. Humanity thrived in eternal worship, basking joyfully in divine splendor. The angel revealed a crystal-clear river, the river of life, flowing from God's throne, nourishing all creation. On one side stood the gleaming city. On the other, the tree of life flourished, its leaves healing nations, its fruit sustaining life. Here, mankind stood face to face with God, reigning eternally alongside him, creating beauty and glory forevermore. Then, Jesus' voice reverberated through creation itself.
Come, all who thirst. Behold, I am coming soon. I am the Alpha and Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end.
Thus concludes humanity's greatest story. It is not a tale of human achievement or moral perfection. It is the epic saga of a loving God relentlessly pursuing his lost creation. The saga of a bridegroom longing for his beloved bride. The tale of a shepherd rescuing his lost sheep. Above all, it is the story of hope, redemption, and eternal love. The everlasting story of Jesus.
He was the morning star, radiant, powerful, until pride dulled his beauty and corrupted his place before the Almighty. Lucifer fell. Now he rages against God's image bearers. He knows his fate will already end in fire, but until then, he bears his fangs.
It was dusk. Darkness slowly stretched its wings over the land. Judea was filled with a symphony of crickets, and the whisper of rustling grass accompanied the wind. Jesus surveyed the land from atop a jagged hill, holding his garment tightly to his shivering body. He had been fasting for 40 days, depriving his body of food. His whispered and weak breaths to God rose with the evening breeze. But as he spoke to his Father, another visited him. Jesus wasn't alone. An ancient enemy lurked among the reeds behind him, waiting for a moment to strike. For 40 days, Jesus had gone without food. His body was beginning to eat away at itself, and his mind was experiencing the dull effects of starvation. It was at this moment a slithering presence emerged from the darkness. He slid his way behind Jesus and whispered into his ear.
Look, it's the Son of God, shaking like a starving animal. If you truly are the Son of God, why not just command these stones to become bread? Surely the Creator himself deserves some food.
This was the first temptation, the lust of the flesh, a tactic that worked for Adam and Eve once in the garden. Jesus' body ached from hunger. The pain was nearly unbearable. Yet Jesus came to identify with the weakness of mankind. If he simply turned the stones into bread, he would take advantage of the power God gave him.
I don't need it. It is written, man does not live by bread alone, but by the very words uttered from God himself.
It was difficult for Jesus to speak. He had a fever from hunger, and the chills caused him to shiver. Satan scoffed and wrapped his cloak around Jesus. Suddenly the two were standing over the temple of Jerusalem. They were at the temple's highest point, overlooking the people below. The wind howled as Jesus stood at the very tip of the massive structure.
Behold!
Satan screamed through the wind, pointing to the people below. He laughed and surveyed the worshippers coming to and fro from the temple.
They want a sign, Jesus. They long to worship. They're hungry for it.
The wind cut Jesus' cheek like glass. He looked at the people below. They were praying, seeking, searching for answers from God. Jesus wanted to reveal himself to them. He wanted to show them God's will. He wanted to be their Lord and Shepherd.
They're waiting for you, Son of God. They're all here waiting for you to show yourself. Make a spectacle and jump off. For you and I both know what the scriptures say. They claim that the Lord will order his angels to protect you. Think about the sight of that. Think about the people praying, and all of a sudden seeing a man flying on the backs of angels. No doubt they'd worship you then.
Satan's eyes were glowing with a mixture of playful anticipation and deep hatred. It was a terrifying sight.
What are you waiting for? Jump!
Jesus looked down at the people coming in and out of the temple. If they were to see a man flying on the wings of angels over the holy temple, indeed, they would worship him. Yet it would be no greater than a circus act. Jesus knew that it was not signs and wonders that would save mankind. He knew what his true purpose was. Faith born of spectacle was as fleeting as the wind that bore it. His path was one of more profound truths.
Blessed are those who don't see, yet still believe.
A smirk creased on the sides of his face. He wouldn't give in. Satan saw Jesus smile, and he knew it.
It is written, you must not test the Lord your God.
Satan, still behind Jesus, scowled. He whisked Jesus into a vision, setting them atop of a vast panorama of earthly kingdoms. The world sprawled below them, shimmering with the allure of gold, silver, and infinite treasures. The shadow of corruption tainted their magnificence.
You see all this? These kingdoms are mine. They have been taken by me and are mine to give. All this power, all this glory could be yours.
Satan leaned closer in to Jesus' ear. He stretched out his hand to the kingdoms, glowing in the magnificent light.
Look, Son of God. Look at all that could be yours to rule. All you must do is worship me.
The lust for power, a temptation Eve once fell for when Satan promised she would be like God. Despite the exhaustion clouding his vision, Jesus saw through the hollow splendor. The promise of power and riches had been the fall of many men. It was an enticing offer, no doubt. Jesus longed to rule over his people as king. But his kingdom was not of this world. Corruption was not the way to win the hearts of man.
It is written, "You shall worship the Lord your God. Him and him alone shall you serve."
Satan sneered at Jesus, ready to tempt him again. Before he could speak, Jesus turned around, looked him in the eyes for the first time.
"Enough!"
Jesus rebuked. Satan jarred back. The two of them were standing in the wilderness once again. The stars were settled high in the sky, and the howling evening wind rolled over the hills. Satan shrunk at the voice of Jesus. They were not equals. Jesus alone held the power. So Satan retreated into the grass, so he may scheme more about how to take the heart of man. Jesus then departed to eat, recover, and pray. He had successfully resisted the temptations of the enemy. Temptations that had caused humanity to stumble for thousands of generations. Jesus, even in his most weakened state, was able to overcome it. This would be a foreshadowing of things to come. Jesus, even at his most afflicted, would overcome.
Sodom. The city has become a nest of violence and abuse. The innocent surrounding the land have cried out, and I have heard them.
What are your commands, my lord?
Descend, survey the city, see if their deeds match the cries against them.
My God, will you really sweep away the righteous with the wicked?
See if any righteous remain.
My lords, you shouldn't be here this late. It's not safe. Come with me. You can rest in my home.
Listen to me, Lot. The evil and vile atrocities have caused a great outcry against its people. The city will be destroyed. You need to leave now. Take your wife and your daughters, or you will be swept away in the punishment of the city.